Joining me now, a man who has covered everything from the war in Afghanistan to cover-ups of sexual assault in the church and elsewhere, and battles between President Trump and Omarosa at the Apprentice boardroom, where he was a contestant at one point as well. It is surreal to watch all of this play out, Geraldo. Good evening to you. Glad to have you with us tonight. Step back for us a moment and take a look at all of this and put us in some perspective for us tonight.
Well, Martha, welcome to the world of reality television translated on a national, international scale. Omarosa is no accident. She's flamboyant and charismatic, and she raided. President Trump has always had an affinity and an affection for people and stories that rate. He hired her, time and time again on The Apprentice. Even when she lost, she was a winner. She kept coming back. She became such a prominent public figure. And then when he moved into the White House, many thought it was natural that he would take his most vivid contestant, put it that way. Now it seems his judgment in that hiring, this is clearly a case where he should have said, "You're fired," and kept her out of the boardroom and out of the White House, because what has happened, obviously her performance as a key aide to the president was substandard. They feared her as much as they wanted her. She was a volatile person. I think the fact that she was a black woman and one of the few high-ranking black officials in the White House kept her surviving in and around the Oval Office. Now it turns out that she's written this treacherous book. The president has responded, I think, in a very egregious and distasteful way that does him no credit at all. I've been with him 100 times over 40 years. I never heard him utter anything like the N-word. Nothing that filthy ever came out of his mouth. And I think that she's lying about that. I don't think that she's ever heard him say that either. And yet we have this discussion now, and he calls her a dog and a lowlife. And, it's a very, very distressful kind of soap opera, going back again to where I started, reality television.
It is a soap opera, to be sure. And, here's some of how it started and how he, became impressed by her and apparently, thought she was a big star. Here's some of the old days.
And I had to let her know that I had soap experience. In fact, I was featured on the cover of Soap Opera Digest. Yay me. I didn't come here to make friends. I said that from day one. Oh, no, you're not going to tell me to be quiet. You're about to get the other side. You're going to be respectful. So you can say whatever you want, but you're not going to disrespect me. So let's get that straight. Don't ever tell me to be quiet, LaToya. What kind of lady would tell you to be quiet? I'm a grown woman. I run a company. I run half of the West Coast for OK Magazine. You're not going to talk to me like I'm 4 years old. I am not your staff. Get it straight.
It's always
I am not your staff.
It's always a scene.
It's going to always be a scene, because you'll never take me down, boo.
Let's start working on the script and get that done.
Next time you fix your mouth to tell me to be quiet, you'll think again. You better think strategically, boo, because you're on the wrong side of Omarosa today.
Woo, so what a shocker that she turned out to be a troublemaker once she got a job in the White House. Here's a book cover that she wrote in 2008. The name of it is The Bitch Switch. That's what it's called. And then on the bottom it says how to turn it on and turn it off. And here's what President Trump said when he wrote in The Art of the Deal about publicity, which is interesting because he's not shying away from this whole thing. He's kind of digging right into it. He says, "The one thing I've learned about the press is that they're always hungry for a good story. The more sensational, the better. The funny thing is that even a critical story, which may be hurtful personally, can be very valuable to your business." Geraldo.
My problem with that, Martha, is that you can't sing at the same volume, the same tune when you're talking about North Korea and when you're talking about Omarosa. You've got to, your emotions have to reflect the proportionality. Omarosa now, I think that a lot of this goes back to a real fundamental problem in the Trump White House. There just are not enough black people in that facility, in the government, in high-ranking positions. I've had this conversation with the president himself. Omarosa she filled up so much space, and she was so flamboyant and so, so public and effective and tough. And, she could draw a crowd, and she'd run into the stadiums and they'd be cheering her. The Trump fans would cheer Omarosa because she had the president's back. But I almost used a metaphor that I would have regretted, but that tough lady, you know, the bitch switch, as she calls it, you know, she turned it on him. She's turned it on him now. And the president, by responding at the same kind of tone as she is giving it, dishing it out to him, I think diminishes him. And I wish he would just cool it, Martha.
Geraldo, thank you very much. Good to see you tonight.
Thank you.